Greetings. You're listening to Rebels Remembered, featuring Caitlin DeFord and Kelsey DeFord.
Greetings, travelers from across the galaxy. I am Caitlin.
I am Kelsey.
This is Rebels Remembered, and this week we are on season 3 still. We'll be on season 3 for a little bit longer. We got a long way to go this season. We're on episode 7, Imperial Supercommandos. This episode aired November 5th, 2016. Synopsis reads, having lost contact with the protectors of Concord Dawn, Sabine, Ezra, and Fenn Rau investigate and find the base occupied by Imperial Mandalorians. This was written by Christopher Yost, good writer, and directed by Stuart Lee.
Okay, it's got some trivia here for you. The ideas of Imperial Supercommandos dates back to the very earliest concept work done for The Empire Strikes Back. Preliminary store explorations would have had a class of super stormtroopers, which resulted in all-white designs of what would become Boba Fett's Mandalorian armor as the story ended up evolving. The Phantom II, we see again, now has a large stylized TBD graphic based on the original Phantom's encounter with one in season 1. I have to go back and watch that because I don't think I caught it. So there's a TBD, a little bat creature that you see.
I love the way you say TBD.
TBD. I feel like you have to say it like it's cute. It's just sweet. The canyon for the jetpack chase is a retexturing of the Ryloth canyon seen earlier. So I'm assuming retexturing means they took the same sort of rendered animation and just applied different textures to it.
I can kind of tell it. I was like,
yeah.
What's familiar?
Yeah. So it has a different texture. It now has a shallow river running through it, and a new pillar that Sabine knocks over, and sparse trees along the surface. The character of Gar Saxon was originally developed for the Clone Wars episodes that never entered into production. These were then adapted into the comic series Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir, which we brought up a couple times relating to Maul. So Gar Saxon was actually, I guess, one of the heads of his Supercommandos when he was doing the Shadow Collective stuff. I looked up his design. It's really interesting. He had a horned helmet to look like the horns that Maul has. And then his face plate glowed yellow, which I thought that was really cool.
Interesting.
But yeah, if you haven't seen his design, Son of Darth Maul, check that out. The guest Mandalorian performance in this episode represent a reunion of 2 cast members from the HBO series Rome. Kevin McKidd, who plays Fenn Rau, played Lucius Varenus, while Ray Stevenson, who plays Gar Saxon, played Titus Pulio.
It's interesting. We got 2 Mandalorians that played in a series about Romans,
which is more. I don't know what they. I've never saw their performances in Rome, but it's interesting because combat and stuff. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Okay, so this episode, we start to scratch the surface with Mandalorians. Now, for those that don't know, I've said this so many times on the pod, and I apologize. Actually, I don't, because I just haven't had time to watch the show. I've never seen Clone Wars. Again, I feel like there's a lot of lore and culture about Mandalorians in that show, and unfortunately, I haven't seen it. So for me, this one and Protectors of Concord Dawn were my first inkling of Mandalorians.
Yeah,
I don't really know anything about this, so I was really excited to when this episode was advertised and when they were gonna go back to Concord Dawn, getting more Mandalorian stuff.
Yeah, and also I think it's worthy to note that also this was before. Wait, I don't know. I don't want to misspeak. I don't know if this was before The Mandalorian.
Oh.
The show that came out on Disney Plus has Baby Grogu in it.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder. I have to look that up, but I've never seen The Mandalorian either.
I haven't either. I heard it's really good, but
there's a lot of Mandalorian culture in that as well. But yeah, it was interesting to kind of go back to the Mando stuff because I know a lot of people were interested in that because it's pretty much all you get about Sabine is about her past is oh, she's a Mandalorian. That's it.
Yeah.
And she was in the academy. full stop, nothing else, the first two
Yeah,
seasons.
that was another interesting thing for me, is that we're starting to get a little bit more about Sabine.
Yeah, I think her mother might have been mentioned the first time we met Fenn Rau, and then here she's brought up again.
Yeah.
So you get little inklings again of her backstory.
Mm-hmm. We start this episode with, well, I'm going to call him what Kanan called him, a cranky visitor.
Yeah.
In his cell, because they still have him in holding.
Yeah.
From that episode we were just discussing.
He's been in there a while.
He actually has, now I think about it. And it's interesting that him and Sabine are playing this game, and oh my gosh, I said I was going to write down the name of it and I forgot. Which I want to get your thoughts about this. So she's kind of trying to make him and his protectors join the rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
Did you like how that was out of the gate? She's trying to recruit him? Or did you have any issues with it?
I didn't have any issues with it because I do wonder, like, how many times has she came and visited Fenn Rau?
True.
Yeah, I do wonder, like, has this been a constant where she's always trying to, like, I'm gonna put it in your ear, like, just a trickle of, like, joining us. I don't think it was just one day she decided to come in. It doesn't say that, I'm assuming, but I didn't have an issue with it. What about you?
I don't know. Now that you mentioned that, maybe there is some sidebar conversations they had off screen that we didn't see. Although I will say Sabine, if she's done recruited, like, what, 3 pilots? So
Yeah, she's done a lot of recruitment
for the rebellion.
Yeah.
Fenn Rau, of course, maintains his true loyalty to Mandalore and would work with her if he was free, but only if they were in service of their homeworld. So it's interesting you have 2 people from the same culture, the same planet, but you have one that is for the rebellion and you have one that's for the Empire. So it's interesting that, like, that's why they're butting heads. For a number, I think, more than just that.
And also, I think, I'll talk about this later, but I think Henry Gilroy also says it's interesting to have them interact, period, because it's almost like, I think in Rebels Recon, the way I believe Henry Gilroy put it was, Fenn Rau is a constant reminder of what she left.
True.
Of her home. There's a link there, but still they, like Mandos, right? Very different loyalties.
Yeah. Before the discussion can continue, they're interrupted. The rebellion has lost contact with the Mandalorian base on Concord Dawn. Rebel leadership worries that the Mandalorians are setting a trap. So instantly they'd be like, oh, they're probably... They immediately assume it's the Mandalorians.
Yeah.
Rau insists, though, that is not the case. Volunteers to help investigate. So these are his men.
Yeah, and also, that's why they've kind of needed Fenn Rau, is to, like, so he can talk to them and ensure safe passage through Concord Dawn for the rebel ships.
Right.
What did you originally think was going on when they lost contact?
When I first watched it, I wasn't sure. I thought, they said the Mandalorians showing trap. I thought the Imperial people took, which they kind of did, but it's through Gar Saxon.
Yeah.
I thought the Imperials figured it out, and that's what they did. They took over the base.
Well, see, when I originally watched it, I guess because I just don't trust people.
You thought Fenn Rau sold him out?
No, not Fenn Rau. I thought his men just betrayed him because they don't know how long he's been there. He might be He might have turned traitor for all they know. He could be working for the rebellion now. Like, I'm thinking from the men's point of view. I do wonder about that. But again, maybe they were incredibly loyal to him at the same time. But initially, that's what I thought was, oh, they're working with the Empire now because they think their general left them, essentially.
I didn't think about that part. So Sabine, Fenn Rau, and Ezra take the Phantom to head to Concord Dawn. And I think it's so funny that they have him in kind of cuffs, I think. And you have him sitting across from Ezra and it's just, like, really awkward, like, okay. And then, like, Ezra has this moment where he, like, starts whistling, like, okay, this is just weird.
Yeah.
And then, of course, he has to be stupid and take his eyes off of him, and that's what allows him to knock both of them out and take control of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also, I think Ezra has a line where he says, I don't get the whole Mandalorian thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Sabine says, well, we're always fighting each other. You know, rather than coming together, it's always, like, clan against clan.
Yeah.
I could be misspeaking on that, but that's the vibe I'm getting from them.
Mm-hmm.
They wake up to find they've landed with Rau standing listlessly outside. This part was kind of creepy. Just him standing there and, like, what is it? He's just kind of
Frozen.
And he sees that his entire base has been decimated, destroyed not by the Empire, but other Mandalorians, he says. And he refers to them as traitors if they're for the Empire.
Yeah.
Which I was getting confused here, of course, it's Mandalorian, so I'm really struggling here. Did he not work for the Empire? He didn't.
No, he I believe in season 2, he says he works for Concord Dawn and he works for Mandalore.
Okay. So yeah, I think this is where I started going, wait, there's Mandalorians that are specifically, they're not for their planet anymore. You can look at it that way.
Yeah.
That's why they're, I guess, traitors, because they're serving the Empire and not
Mandalore.
Okay. I think I answered my own question.
Yeah.
And then he has this moment where he's like, if you guys hadn't have come and got, taken me away, I could have been here with my men, and we could have, which is kind of, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't think so. I think he would have obviously got taken.
Well, I think even he
killed.
says, I think he does struggle with it, if I would have been here, I could have done something, but then it shifts to the end where he's like, no, I probably would have died with the rest of them. But yeah, he's not happy with the rebels right now. He blames them for the reason why his men are all dead.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, a probe droid appears. After an encounter with the probe droid, they spot a new threat, Imperial Supercommandos, or Mandalorians who serve the Empire. And they come in, this shot's really interesting, where they're got their weapons and they got their jetpacks, and it's oh, these guys, let's kind of test the waters here and fill them. Because when I first saw them, I was
Did you know that the Imperial Super Commandos were probably working for the Empire, or did you think it was just a Mandalorian Mando thing?
Well, Rau says it's Mandalorians that work for the Empire.
Oh, okay. My bad. Yeah, okay. Forgot about that part.
And they kind of split off or whatever, and then Ezra kind of distracts them, and they chase after him and Chopper, allowing Fenn Rau and Sabine to kind of get out of there, but they capture Ezra and Chopper, unfortunately.
Which Ezra doesn't have his lightsaber right now.
Oh, yeah.
Gar Saxon has that. When they were trying to, capture him and he was frozen looking at his deceased comrades, Ezra took the gun with the Force, but he didn't grab his lightsaber off his
so
belt.
he still got the lightsaber on his belt. Yep. So we have this scene where it's Fenn Rau and Sabine, and it kind of cuts between them and what's going on with Ezra. Where Rau's like, well, let's just leave. And then she said, no, we have to get him out because, again, it's going to also not only show the difference between the Rebellion and the Empire, but also the Rebellion and the Mandalorians. Because they're all, I feel like they're very much about war and the bigger goal. Because I think he says pawns are sacrificed.
Yeah.
So he just sees Ezra as a pawn. Now, I wonder if he would see his own men that way. It makes you wonder if he would.
I don't know.
I don't know. He's just being a butt. But they have this conversation about should they get him out, should they not get him out. And he's still kind of carrying that, like you said earlier, my men are dead. If I was here, I could have done something. And then Sabine says, well, they were my people too. Dude, I'm on, we share a common, thread. Why are you being a butt?
Yeah. Well, I also think it's interesting that we get this introduction to Gar Saxon, and I think Pablo Hidalgo described him as, I have it in my notes, the quintessential sellout.
Oh,
so
interesting. Benedict Arnold?
He uses whatever he can. It's not about for the good of Mandalore or for the good of the Empire. He uses that to hide, no, I just want power. And so we can see that with, they were talking about in Rebels Recon about the changing of his armor. He went from very looks like Darth Maul, the color scheme, to the armor that the Mandos wear in this, the Supercommandos, is very Imperial. And so it's almost like I'll put this uniform on if it gives me what I want more power and what I need. Which it's interesting to see him and Ezra interact, but I also think it's a mirror or a comparison of Fenn Rau versus Gar Saxon.
Oh, that's true.
I
yeah.
think, the way that we have that scene, really, I felt bad for Fenn Rau, like, oddly enough, when he was patching into their frequency on the helmet so they could hear Gar Saxon talking about how, like, I just mowed them down like they were nothing.
Oh, yeah.
He has to sit there and listen to that, which is really hard because, he's blaming himself, too. But yeah, you have Fenn Rau, who's very, very loyal to his men and to Concord Dawn. And then you have Gar, who I think would sell his mother if it meant he could get whatever he wanted. Also, Fenn Rau is very, like, kind of reserved.
Yeah.
And Gar is, like, just not. Like, he, like, grabs Ezra by the collar and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Both Kevin McKidd, who voices Fenn Rau, and Ray Stevenson, who's unfortunately no longer with us, both Kevin McKidd and Ray Stevenson did a good job as portraying both of those. We also see, like, he kind of threatens Chopper to dismantle Chopper, and Ezra's, like, giving this baloney. I thought there was treasure here, and I think Gar can see right through it. And then
he says something like, with each lie, you tell me something so truthful.
Yeah. But once he sees that Ezra protects Chopper with the Force, he's like, you just became more valuable, which... super creepy, because we know what happens to Jedi if they get caught by
Yeah, I remember watching this episode the first time, and I was like, oh god, this is gonna be...
So, Gar Saxon interrogates Ezra, says that the rebellion has been using Concord Dawn to avoid Imperials, and he threatens to blast Chopper, and Ezra tells him the truth. That's when he reveals he's a Jedi. Suddenly, charges roll inside the bunker, they detonate, and Sabine runs in under a cover of smoke, rescuing both Ezra and Chopper. They run back toward the Phantom 2, looking to escape, and watch as Fenn Rau takes off without them.
Oh, my heart sunk. I was like, no! I thought you and Sabine kind of were getting there,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so basically Fenn Rau took off without them. And I think in my gut, I was like, he's probably gonna come back, but I don't know if he is or not.
Mm-hmm.
Gar Saxon says he knows who Sabine is and that her mother stands with the Empire. That's a big thing that we hear.
Yeah.
We've never heard that before. And he says that she abandoned the Imperial Academy. So here we finally get a revelation that Sabine's own mother and possibly her entire family is with the Empire.
It's very, very quick, but you're right, that's a pretty big deal to learn about Sabine. That, okay, then you have all these questions.
Yeah.
Which get answered later, but like, wait, her family's with the Empire? Why is she in the rebellion side? Yeah, you figure that out later.
Yeah. He offers her an ultimatum: give him Fenn Rau, or her friends will die. She hands Chopper her helmet and kneels, appearing to surrender. Here it is. Suddenly her helmet emits a piercing frequency, and the rebels make a hasty getaway.
Then we have the scene that everyone was wanting. Everyone wanted Sabine to have a jetpack.
Yes!
I feel. And even Sabine's line about been wanting one of these or something. I feel like that was Tia being like, yay, I got a jetpack.
Exactly.
Tia Sarker versus Sabine saying that. And so they have this huge chase, which I think, this is a Rebels podcast, so I am biased. I think it's one of the best chase sequences we have in this season, if not the series.
And the way it's animated, the animators did such a good job on, there's a lot of moving parts going on.
There's a lot of, the lighting of the fire on the rocks that they pass, and the explosions, and, all of that.
When Ezra almost hits the water.
Yeah, when he's, dangling in the water, you see some reflection going on there, and, yeah, a lot of animation, that are, the animation sequences.
Wow.
Really,
Yes,
chef's kiss. They eventually bring them crashing down, in front of, I believe it's Gar's ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Sabine says, I'll be right behind you. I'm behind you, right? Let me say it again.
Well, Rau suddenly arrives to pick them up.
Oh, yeah, Fenn Rau comes back. But after that, Sabine says, go, Ezra, I'll be behind you. And as we all know, for some reason in Rebels...
And Star Wars in general.
I'll be right behind you is not something... something bad's about to happen.
Yeah.
Which it does. Gar Saxon jumps on top of her. So.
Yep. Which we get a lot more physicality again from
Yeah.
Sabine. being able to physically fight Gar, which is really cool. And they managed to blow up a ship to boot.
True.
But yeah, it's interesting, again, to see more physical combat rather than just a lightsaber or a blaster. Pretty cool.
I enjoyed it.
So she finally makes it to the ship. I believe Ezra has to, like, catch her because he fires on her jetpack or something.
Short-lived. She had one. She can get fixed, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, she has one. Oh, it blew up.
So they're now aboard the Phantom 2. Fenn Rau says that he was impressed that they were willing to die for their cause, and then he agrees to join the rebellion. What do you think about that? About him joining them so quickly?
Well, he says this monologue of, like, you were willing to die for your people. And he says, like, you have not lost our ways. Like, yeah, dude, she's like you, you know? Now, I think we always have this conversation anytime someone new is recruited, like, is it too quick for him to join them? But if you really think about it, what is his other option?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he already is kind of very anti-Empire.
That, and Gar knows that he's been helping rebels go through Concord Dawn.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty clear that had Fenn Rau stayed where he was at, like, I'm pretty sure Gar would have executed him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder, maybe, was it too quick? I don't think so, because, not saying he just joined, that was his only option, but, I think he really got to see, like, so many people that we get new recruits for in this series. You really get to see, like, he saw Sabine willing to risk her life to save Ezra, even though they're not Mandalorian. Taking a risk to save others, and I had a point, I lost it.
Also, just seeing how the Empire is affecting Mandalore.
Yeah.
I feel like being part of Concord Dawn was a way for him to escape the reality, which the
You're probably right.
reality is the Empire on Mandalore is not a good thing. But I'm just gonna be here in Concord Dawn and pretend it's not happening because there's this whole thing Mandalorian, the warring tribes. It's like, okay, who's the true Mandalore? Like, what are you fighting for? Like, kind of thing. So I think for him, joining the rebellion, I think comes full circle for him because he also saw Gar, yes, did kill his men, but the Empire was also part of that, a big part of that.
Yeah.
So maybe there's revenge there. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
Because again, we didn't really get a lot from him about why, other than sort of like the honor kind of system. Of, oh, I saw you risk your life for other people. Yeah. What did you rate this episode?
I gave it a 6 out of 10.
That's exactly what I wrote.
Okay, I wrote
6 out of 10.
The pacing was slower, which, forgive me, it's just, I feel like specifically with season 3, there's a lot of exposition in some of these episodes.
Yeah.
Where the pacing is a lot slower. And in all honesty, this is probably a hot take, but, it's just my opinion. Obviously, or it could have just been my brain wasn't focusing on the episode. I zoned out.
Yeah, I will say the chase sequences are really good, but I started zoning out near the tail end of it. I don't know why. Maybe just a little. They could have shaved a couple seconds off of it. Maybe I would have maintained my focus, but yeah, I did catch myself zoning out on it.
Also, when I first watched this episode, I think I really was harsh about this episode when it first premiered. Because I was like, yeah, let's go, Mandalorians. I'm going to learn everything there is to know about Mandalorians.
Episode.
And then I was like, I didn't learn nothing. I'm upset.
You get pieces.
And I'm like, what? Now looking at it now, I'm like, first of all, you're not going to learn everything there is to know about Mandalore in one episode. I would have liked there been a little bit more, but this is more like little breadcrumbs of it.
Plus, I think when I first watched it, I was like, I'm expecting to go back to this.
Oh, yeah.
Because Gar is still running around, but also I think, correct me if I'm wrong on this, because you would know, a lot of the promotional stuff, I remember for season 3 specifically, they would be saying, sorry, my grammar, the cast, the crew at like Celebration and the promotionals were saying, oh, you're going to learn more about Sabine, you're going to learn more about Mandalore, and so this was just one episode out of the rest of the season.
There's a lot more Mandalorian stuff.
And so I was expecting more to come, so I wasn't as upset that I didn't learn.
I don't know why. I think I was like, we kind of end this episode where Ezra was at Mandos are crazy. I think he says in this episode, I'm like, I'm with Ezra. I feel like I went in this episode with that, and leading
like really. With that. What was your first clue? Their planet is literally a mess. Like,
has it always been a mess though?
Pretty much.
Oh my gosh, I had a great idea. Listeners, or if you're watching this on YouTube, somebody needs to make an unofficial history of Mandalore.
I wonder if the Mandalorian came out with one.
They should do that so I can read it and learn everything. So our activity this time that I made up is called Mandalorian Matchup. So we're gonna match up. Because I know the answers.
Dang it.
Matching Mandalorians with their quotes or / actions. I think I just have quotes on this.
Okay.
But since we're touching the surface of Mandalorians and Mandalore culture, I thought it'd be interesting to kind of dive a little bit deeper into some of these characters. Now, some of these people I've never heard of and do not know.
Well, it's gonna be bad. I'm gonna get every single one of these wrong.
I have faith in you. I have faith in you.
Oh, Lord. I don't. Thank you, though.
Okay, so the first quote I have is... You can't see this, right? You're not cheating.
I'm blind. I wouldn't be able to anyway.
So the first quote is... Don't believe everything you hear. Our enemies want to separate us, but Mandalorians are stronger together.
That's the bad thing about Mando. It's like any Mando could say this. You could apply it to different situations of who they're talking about, who the enemies are.
Do you need a hint?
I only know like 3 Mandos. I only know like 3 or 4.
I'm so glad I'm not doing this.
Oh my god. What would be the hint?
This is a female Mandalorian.
The only 2 that I know are Bo-Katan. Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, is it? Oh god, okay.
Ding ding ding. Okay, you got that one.
Okay.
The second quote is only 3 words.
Okay.
Victory or death.
Victory or death. Jango or Boba? That's all I got.
He's in this episode.
He's in Oh, it's Gar Saxon.
Yep.
That's all I know. Duh, there's another Mandalorian in this one. Yeah, I'm stupid. I'm dumb.
Okay, this next one, the hint on this one is you just said them, and some of those you said earlier.
Oh, okay.
This quote is, "This is a war, and we will win."
This is a war we will win. I feel like I'm just going to say pre-visit all of them. Okay.
Pre-visit, yep. Alright, this next one, "I am the best, always was."
Is it one I've already said?
No.
Oh, wow.
This particular Mando is in the original trilogy.
Boba?
I mean, not Boba. Not the original. Excuse me. The prequel trilogy.
Oh, the prequel.
Yeah.
Jango?
Yes.
Okay.
Jango Fett. Alright, next one is, "War is intolerable. We have been deceived into thinking that we must be a part of it."
Ooh, that's a nice one. Sounds like a Satine thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey! Alright, this next one, this person is also featured in this episode.
Okay.
"I know that family is important to the Wrens, just like it is to all Mandalorians."
Fenn Rau.
Yes. Ding ding ding. Which had like a little
Bell.
Alright. Next one is, "I got the best weapons, best ship, and I'm feared across the galaxy." We haven't seen them in a while.
Oh, we've seen them previously. And they're a Mando?
Yes.
Oh, now I'm stumped. We've seen them in Rebels.
Yes, we have.
It's not... No, she's not Mandalorian. For some reason I was thinking of... What's her name? Sabine's friend.
Ketsu?
Yeah.
That's who it is.
Oh, is she Mandalorian?
I don't know, but she's on my list.
Okay.
Okay, the next one, this person you've said multiple times.
Why? Okay.
The quote is, "Lord Maul, I was afraid we lost you."
is that one. Wait, who did I say multiple times? I've said a lot of Mandos multiple times. That's not cast, is it?
That is cast.
Okay. Why do I keep thinking about that one? Okay.
So the last one here. This armor is part of our identity. It makes us Mandalorians who we are. This is a toughie, I think.
You don't think I would know this one?
Probably not, because I forgot about them. So.
Oh.
It's like, oh, that's a good one.
Have we seen them in Rebels yet?
Not yet.
Is it her mom? Her dad?
Her dad.
Dad, okay.
Ulrich Wren.
Okay.
So, leave a little tease. We'll probably have this picture up if you're watching YouTube. Little tease of Sabine's father that we get to later.
Yep.